The mayor of Portland has finally come out against Antifa, calling them out by name, saying that they're facing violence from Antifa and anarchist extremists. The mayor of Portland, Mayor Ted Wheeler, says that his attempts at de-escalation have been met with resistance by these groups. It has been 7 months. How long now? Longer, as Antifa and other far-left extremists have wreaked havoc on the Portland area. And you know what? Ted Wheeler did nothing. In fact, he actually joined them as they were throwing explosives at the federal building. But now, all of a sudden now, he has issues. The usefulness of Antifa has expired. They didn't want Trump to win. They wanted to hurt him. And they say, look at all the riots that are happening under Donald Trump's presidency. That was the name of the game. Assume no responsibility, defend Antifa and say Trump's the fascist. Congratulations, Antifa. Here's what you get. They stab you in the back, figuratively. They used you to get what they want. And now here you are left holding an empty bag, having supported a criminal establishment elite that will not do anything for you. And oh, do I love the fake progressives, the fake left that would defend Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and insult people like Jimmy Dore. It's so pathetic, isn't it? You can really tell who actually cares about the people and who is actually just grifting, the word they love to use so much. Now, what I find truly fascinating in this story is that he actually came out and said Antifa. That's surprising. I can only imagine this will result in more riots. They didn't stop the riots the first time. They kept happening. The district attorney kept cutting these people loose. So what may change now? Finally now, the local DA may say, we are working with the mayor to end these violent clashes. Maybe now they'll start prosecuting Antifa, and then these people will start showing up in prison. But I want to say something. You know what? I don't care anymore. Actually, at this point, I'm actually on Antifa's side on this one. You know why? If the mayor of Portland and the DA want to cut them loose and tell them they can do whatever they want, and people voted for the mayor after that to come back now against the will of the people and to defy Antifa, whom he supported in the past, well, that is just, let me just say, the deepest circle of hell. The deepest circle of hell is reserved for betrayers and mutineers, as Jack Sparrow said. It's actually, it is those who are disloyal. Look, if you live in New York, if you live in Portland and Seattle, and you defend Antifa, and you voted for politicians who defended Antifa, well, that's your city. Far be it from me to tell you how to live. Because you know what I was thinking, right? I used to live in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area. And that's one of the reasons I was really concerned about Antifa and the riots and the violence. And I left. And like very shortly after I did, riots broke out in Philly. The National Guard got called in. And I was like, it's a good thing I don't live in that area anymore. I was on the other side of the river on the Jersey side. And I thought it's safe here because no one's going to cross the bridge. And then they did. That got me worried. You know, I'm seeing all of this violence and chaos in these other cities, thinking to myself, why won't they stop this? But in Philadelphia, what did you get? A bunch of local men, like, between the ages of 25 and, 50, came out to defend a statue of Christopher Columbus from Antifa. So you know what the city did? The city said, well, because of the statue, it's dangerous, we're going to remove it. And they did. And they removed it against the wishes of the community, supporting Antifa. Antifa crossed over the bridge, rioting with other leftist groups like Black Lives Matter. And I said, you know what, man, it's not safe to be here. But now I'm in the middle of nowhere. And I thought to myself, well, there's a couple things. For one, the people who are stuck there, who can't just up and move, who can't sell their homes, they need someone advocating for them because I'm sure they don't like what's going on. But guess what? In these places, these Democrat politicians, they're winning their elections. If people vote for this, then who am I to tell them they shouldn't be allowed to have it, right? That's what I was thinking. I just want to be left alone. I want to get a piece of land where I can have fun with my friends. We can make our videos. We can skateboard. And I don't got to worry about your lockdowns, your resources. I want to be self-sufficient, more environmentally friendly. So we're building things that are going to help create a sustainable living situation, semi off the grid kind of stuff, solar power. I'm super excited for this, to be responsible for myself and say, you know what, finally, I don't want to be in your city. Your cities are destructive. They suck up resources. They're extremely expensive. The cities, for the most part, are the problem. When we talk about police brutality, when we talk about environmentalism, all of these causes the left talks about, it's the cities that are the problem. Well, I should say more so. I mean, I think everyone contributes in certain ways. So if I leave, and even before I did, because I voted I was still in New Jersey for the most part before I voted. If people there want to vote for these Democrats, okay, I respect that. I do. I don't want it, so I'll leave. I voted for what I wanted. I didn't win. Well, I can sit there and scream and say, you should all change for me. Or I can say, I voted. I made my arguments. I was there for some time. I didn't win those arguments. You can stay and keep fighting, and that's respectable too. Or you can say, maybe I should go somewhere where at least there's more like-minded people. So when we see Antifa and the chaos and the violence, how dare you, Ted Wheeler? How dare you defend Antifa for months, and then these people invested in burning down businesses in your town, and now you're going to turn around and figuratively knife them in the back? I got to say figuratively, it's YouTube, you know what I mean? Let me read this story. Now listen, I'm being a bit facetious. Obviously the riots, the chaos and the destruction are a bad thing. But if you vote for it, why should... Imagine if you lived in an area and they voted for no gun control at all. No, just literally do whatever you want. There are many places that are like that. How would you feel if a bunch of people were like, these people are crazy and we should come in and send in the police and shut down? They should not be allowed to do that. You'd be like, I don't live here. You don't live here. Okay. Well, I think the riots are awful, and I think people are suffering because of them. But hey, if you vote for it, why should I argue you shouldn't have the right to choose to allow black-clad lunatics running around smashing up your lives? Now, their vote is being trampled on by this despot, Ted Wheeler. How dare he? Anyway. Let's read and see what's going on. There's more news, too, obviously. Nancy Pelosi's house was vandalized, so you reap what you sow, Democrats. Oregon Live says, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler on Friday promised a tougher response to people who commit violence and vandalism in a press conference organized after 2 successive days of people damaging property and clashing with police downtown. He said, we need more accountability and we need to hold people responsible for their criminal conduct. Well, you could have done it last year, right? No, he wanted to hurt Donald Trump, as most of them did. Let me show you a little bit what he said. We got a tweet from Andy No. Andy says, in his New Year's presser, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler admits that his efforts to de-escalate and compromise with Antifa have failed to yield results. He condemns the violent extremist movement by name and calls for more to be done.
My good faith efforts at de-escalation have been met with ongoing violence and even scorn from radical Antifa and anarchists.
Whoa. Ted, you're making a mistake here, buddy. Everybody knows Antifa's a myth. I mean, Nadler said it, remember? To Flecka, he said, no, that's a myth. There's no Antifa violence. Antifa's not even a group of people. It's just an idea. What are you, Ted Wheeler, just making stuff up?
In response, it will be necessary to use additional tools and to push the limits of the tools we already have.
Push the limits of the tools we already have. Now, what does that mean? What are the tools that you already have? And what does it mean, pushing the limits? I'll tell you this. I got my issues with Antifa, and I've complained about them left and right because they destroyed businesses of regular people. They seized land and in the autonomous zone, and the people who are there are like, yo, we don't like this. And they go around attacking people. I've seen more than my fair share of Antifa being psychotic and hurting innocent people. Going up to regular private citizens and supporting establishment megacorporations. How amazing is that? And where's they want to argue agent provocateurs and all this other nonsense. I tell you this, Antifa, if you won't come out and stop those who would attack old people and defend corporations, you're the bad guys. I love what they say. They say, if you have 1,300 good cops, and you have 12 cops who are bad and committing crimes, but those 1,300 cops won't call out the 12 bad cops, then you have 1,312 bad cops. Get the joke? 1312 is code for ACAB. All cops are bad. They use a different word for the B, but you get the point. Okay, if you have 100 anti-fascists who are fighting against fascism, and you have 10 that are violently beating innocent people and burning down innocent people's property and their homes and their businesses, then you have, and those 100 anti-fascists won't stop them, then you have 110 bad anti-fascists, or I should just say pseudo-fascists. I know, they're not nationalists, fine, whatever, but they may as well be totalitarian despots. Wheeler said he will organize a meeting with local and state law enforcement as soon as next week to determine how best to respond to anarchist violence in the city. He called for the state legislature to pass a law in its upcoming regular session to increase penalties for people who repeatedly vandalize property. The mayor also said Portland might need legislators to change state laws to allow increased city surveillance, although he provided no specifics when pressed for details. New city commissioner Mingus Mapps joined Wheeler and law enforcement officials at the press conference and said they marked both the beginning of a new year and a new chapter in Portland history. We are the ones who get to write this chapter, said Mapps, who noted the last year has been marked by police violence as well as the highest number of shootings in the city that he could remember. Let's make the story about recovery. Let's make the story about peace. After months of nightly protests against police violence in Portland, protests had died down during the winter. Many of those demonstrations were large and peaceful. Oh, peaceful. Many. Not most. Many. You see what they're saying there? Isn't that funny? Many. We had 130 days, and many of them, what is many? 5, 6, 10? No, not most. That's right. Most protesters were leaving before smaller groups clashed with police. Oh, so even the ones they're saying were peaceful still had clashes with police. Bravo on that writing, Oregon Live. Mapps, who is the third black man on the Portland City Council in city history, thanked peaceful protesters and said, I literally would not be here at this podium if people had not protested for racial justice throughout history. He distinguished those demonstrators from vandals sweeping through Portland neighborhoods. Oh, congratulations, Black Lives Matter. The police are on your side now. Antifa, you're the bad ones. Okay. Wheeler sought to put the focus on businesses harmed by the vandalism and cast the people who gathered downtown as extremists, seeking to cause destruction and violence rather than promote change. About that. That's exactly what we've all been saying for some time. And the only reason, in my opinion, they didn't do anything was because Trump said it was bad. So they said, no, Trump, you're bad. We're going to defend the extremists. Don't you love it? They go on to say, Wheeler sought to put the focus on businesses harmed by the vandalism and cast them as extremists seeking to cause destruction. He described the crowds in recent days as violent Antifa and anarchists and said they were rampaging through downtown, causing tens of thousands of dollars of damage to taxpayer and private properties, including damaging businesses struggling to stay afloat during the pandemic. What a duplicitous scumbag. That's why I'm saying, I'm half joking. You know what? No, I'm on Antifa's side on this one. They were given guarantees and promises by this man, and he's turning his back on them after everything they've done for you, destroying small businesses so that you can sit there and laugh as you watch the suffering in your own city. How dare you turn your back on your own goon squad? Police Chief Chuck Lavelle and Multnomah County Sheriff Mike Reese made similar characterizations. I'm sick of it. I am absolutely sick of it. How disgusting are these people that they sat back and they watched Antifa burn buildings to the ground, smash their windows, light their property on fire. And he said, no, Trump is the bad one. That's right. Well, I tell you this. Do you think Antifa is just going to stop and go away and be like, oh, gee, I'm sorry there, Mr. Wheeler. We didn't mean to cause all these problems for you. We thought we were fighting fascism. Now we'll leave. No, they're going to get angry now. They're going to be angrier. But there's a difference. Now that the duplicitous scumbags like Ted Wheeler, who will lie to your face, spit on the Constitution, and punch you in the gut, now that they've secured their position and the orange man is gone, now they're going to turn around and say the boot comes for the rest of you. So you see, that's the scumbaggery of these people. Now, I'll be honest with you. Don't get me wrong. Antifa needs to be stopped. But what's at this point, I tell you, maybe you throw the baby out with the bathwater on this one. If we've known for some time that Antifa was causing all this destruction and violence, and the people vote for it, you got a very serious problem. Unless the people were like, no, trust us. As soon as Trump's gone, we know that Ted Wheeler will do the right thing. So you've got this duplicitous snake of a politician. They're all bad, every one of them, and they deserve each other. So I'll tell you this, part of me, I'm going to say I'll sit back and watch as Antifa panics now. Oh, no, our institutional support is fading. Yeah, okay, well, forgive me if I don't seem to care all that much in total honesty. But man, do I just really detest people like Ted Wheeler. Talk about the worst kind of politician who would let you suffer for his political gain. Man, these people are criminals if you were to ask me. Now these cops are coming out and they're saying the same thing they've been saying. How could you work for this man? You know what? People have no principles, no integrity, and would probably punch their own mother in the face if someone offered them enough money. That's what I see that's what I see when I look at these people like Ted Wheeler. That guy would probably punch his mom in the gut and push her down the stairs if you offer him enough of cash. That's the kind of person you elect and you get. And you know what? He ain't the only one. You also got Nancy Pelosi. I love this story. Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco home vandalized with graffiti, severed pig's head. I say love, not in the sense that I think it's good. No, this is screwed up and people should not do this. But there's some really funny things that have been pointed out. Notably that for some reason, I don't know if you can see this graffiti, right? This photo, it's really small. Maybe I can make it bigger. Okay, there you go. A little bit bigger. Take a look at this. You can see on the right that the spray paint doesn't go onto the brick. What's up with that? A lot of people are pointing this out, being like, what is this? You know, there's a circle with an A, but for some reason the spray paint line stops right in front of the brick. What is that? What is that? Did they tape it off? That's what people are joking about. I don't know, but I don't know how you do that. That's impressive. You have spray paint, you're spraying, and then they just stop at the brick. Okay, sure, fine, I guess. They wanted to make sure they didn't get her brick spray painted, whatever. The new year brought a disturbing discovery to Nancy Pelosi's house early Friday morning while vandals spray painted her house and left a severed pig's head in front of her garage. The graffiti says, cancel rent and we want everything. Well, it says 2K, cancel rent, we want everything. Neighbors say while they understand the frustration over politics on Capitol Hill and they say this type of vandalism doesn't help resolve anything, I don't think that this is a useful way to go about it. And it's a terrible start to this new year when we're hoping for less anger and hatred than we've had to deal with for last year, said Audrey Carlson, a neighbor for Speaker Pelosi. Why should I care if Antifa is targeting Nancy Pelosi? Democrats don't seem to have a bad word for these people. Nadler said it's a myth. Jerry, is this a myth too? Sure. I'm just going to go with what Jerry Nadler said. This is not real. It's not really happening. And who are these people to come out now complaining, oh no, we're being attacked by Antifa? Yo, we've been screaming about this all year. But now you see, Nancy Pelosi, Nadler, they don't care about you. They don't care about your suffering. They care about their opportunity to trick stupid people into voting for them. And this is the curse of this country. Low information voters voting for things they don't understand, manipulated by psychopath despots like the likes of Pelosi and Nadler and Joe Biden. 47 years, Joe Biden corrupted this country and sold it out with a smile on his face, lying left and right. And now you got 20-something-year-olds who aren't smart enough to understand the legacy of Biden, just going, but the orange man is bad because the TV told me so. Congratulations. You figured it out. Trump is bad. And they end up voting for these people who are substantially worse. Trump's got his problems. That's why I've never been a MAGA hat wearing, Trump flag waving Trump supporter. I voted for him simply because he was pushing back on a lot of this psychotic stuff from the Democrats. But more importantly, as I've stated time and time again, my vote for Donald Trump was not because I think he's a great man who's clean and not corrupt and draining the swamp. On the contrary, I've said over and over again, he's a bull rampaging through the ivory tower. And I'm going to sit back, put my feet up and say, whatever. At the end of his term, or just before the election, Trump was trying to get our troops out of Afghanistan, and I like that. Trump is in favor of school choice. I like that too. And Trump signed an executive order getting rid of critical race theory in certain cases in the federal government. And I said, you know what? I'll take what I can get, and I'll let the bull rampage through the ivory tower. Then these 20-something progressive types are making these YouTube videos where they're like, well, I don't know anything about Joe Biden because I was a little kid when he was in the presidency, but I'm going to vote for him anyway because establishment, you always know what's best. Is that it? That's the issue. You think Trump and McConnell have always been friends? I've said repeatedly I've never liked McConnell or Lindsey Graham. I've called Lindsey Graham duplicitous several times. So where's the principle of any of these people? There is none. But I love it, though. I love it. I love when the progressives pull clips out of context from me, and it's because they have to. It's the only thing they can really do, right? So like the latest is, I criticized the nurses who are dancing on the graves of the COVID dead. And so basically what I said is you're in a hospital. Hospitals are being overwhelmed. People are crying. There's a photo of a doctor hugging an old man. And then these nurses are like, let's do a choreographed dance routine. Yeah, you're dancing while people around you are suffering in total misery. And so that's my criticism. Nothing against the vaccine. In fact, I've repeatedly said this is Trump's success. Good. If you want to get it, go get it, Wonderful. Listen to your doctor. Your doctor will tell you what's best for you. So what do? The left, Young Turks specifically, make a segment lying or, I'll be careful, misleading people as to what my opinions actually are, because they can't actually criticize what I'm saying because they know I'm right. They know I'm right when I say there are videos on YouTube of people watching the dancing and they're like, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? And they're complaining about it. And that's what I highlighted. They don't show you that, though. They show you a tweet, where I say, wow, most people had comorbidities. And then they claim it's a right-wing talking point. Okay. Right wing. Well, as most of you know, I actually find Medicare for all preferable to free market private health care. Yeah. What are you going to say about that? That's right wing. I'll say it right now, and let me break it down for you. I think we need base level care for everyone in this country, and it will be expensive, and we need to find a way to reform it. I'm not entirely confident it's possible, but I think Tulsi Gabbard has a really good position on it. We get basic level care with private insurance, like most countries do. Progressives don't like that. They want to ban private insurance, but no one does that. It's an extreme position. I think it would be great if you broke your arm, if you got the flu, you go to the doctor, you're taken care of. There could be wait times, but at least we don't have people dying in the street. I'm in favor of these things. I'm in favor of many social programs. I just think we need to clean them up, clear out the bloat, get rid of the corruption, and it's a hard thing to do. But I'm a right winger, apparently, they say. Why? Because I'll point out on principle the lies, the smears, and the manipulation from the fake progressives at the Young Turks. You know who's a real progressive and a real leftist is Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore, who's actually fighting for principle and fighting for Medicare for all, even though he wants to ban private health insurance. I don't think it's a good idea. I think you need a healthy balance, and we got to get rid of the corruption. But you know who's a fake progressive? Well, the Young Turks. They make up fake videos, they lie, and this is what you see when you have these people in politics. You have Nancy Pelosi, Nadler, and these other scumbags getting voted in. Nancy Pelosi is going to be Speaker of the House again, because the fake progressives, the likes of the Young Turks, pretend like, but we have to stop the Republicans. At least Trump stood up for what he believed in, and Mitch McConnell hates his guts. I don't like the established Republicans. I think Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell are awful, and they've been. And what do they do other than obstruct? I've said it over and over again. Why don't you take a compilation of that, of me saying Mitch McConnell is just obstructing everything from the Democrats? Oh, because it doesn't fit your narrative. Because when it comes to issues of principle, these people have none. You know who does? Jimmy Dore does. He's a good dude. I respect that guy. We probably have disagreements. Crystal Ball and Kyle Kalinske, both really good people as well. Those are the progressives who actually have principle, who would argue intelligently for their cause. I disagree with them on a lot of positions, but not completely. The problem I have is these people keep getting into power. I don't care for Mitch McConnell getting into power, and I don't care if he retains, at this point, I don't care if he retains Senate Majority Leader position. In fact, I don't even think he deserves it. I'll tell you this. The Republicans used Trump and would not get behind him for anything. So you know what? You reap what you sow, all of you. Ted Wheeler, Mitch McConnell, I don't care. Y'all, you get what you reap what you sow. I'll put it that way. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. It is a different channel. If you type that in, you will be pleasantly surprised. Go to that channel, youtube.com/Timcast, subscribe, and I will see you there at 4 p.m. Thanks for hanging out.